Okay, so now we're moving on to lunches. Lunch is one of my favorite times of the day. You're probably going to hear me say that for all the different meal times, but what's great about lunches is that we have an opportunity to continue the positive momentum that we've created from the morning and from our morning meal and from our morning snack and bring that into our lunchtime. Usually lunch is a little bit easier to make a better choice with than dinner time. Our senses are still kind of in the process of waking up. They're really happy because they were given something super yummy in the morning. Our cells feel really great. And so it's good to kind of continue that calorie efficient, nutrient dense meal. So I'm going to include the this and that's video, the bonus video from Food Love after this video. And the most important thing about lunches is that we want to ladder the different elements of our lunch. So if we have lettuce as our base, great to get those organic greens. And if we're talking about concentrates, we want to keep upping the quality of the concentrates. So let's say we're doing pasta for lunch, which is a very common meal that I'll have. Probably 4 days a week I'll have pasta for lunch because I love Italian food. So I will keep upping the quality of the pasta that I get. I'll go from a heavily refined white pasta to a whole wheat pasta. I've been experimenting with higher quality pastas, different legume type pastas like chickpea pasta and lentil pasta, different things like that. So the calorie efficiency of what I'm having and the quality of the food keeps rising. I talk about my marinara sauce. I have a very, very simple, super yummy marinara that's just tomatoes, sometimes Italian spices and salt. There's no sugar, there's no oil, there's no need to put any of that extra junk into something that is supposed to really stand out on its own because of the quality of the tomatoes. Any other concentrate that you're doing at lunchtime, you just want to think, oh, how can I take this the next level? If you're doing fish at lunchtime or chicken, can I get organic? Can I get a wild caught fish? If let's just say that you're having an egg salad for lunch, use pasture raised eggs. Just keep raising the quality of the concentrate that you're using. And we're also taking a look at the sauces that we're doing and the salad dressings. And we're just every single day, every single week, just upping what we're doing. And you're going to see, because you do everything gradually and it's not anything that your senses are going to detect and be like, oh my God, this is salmon from Alaska. They have no idea. As long as the food is yummy, your senses don't really care. We care because we have to live in our bodies. We have to live in the future that we're creating for ourselves, our physical body future, by caring about the quality of the food that we're putting into it. And if we're doing it little by little, and if we're using our favorite foods as a guide, the whole process is fun. That's the whole point. I've never felt restricted or deprived in any single way with my food. If anything, I get really excited when I discover something that's still super yummy, but the quality level is so much higher because I feel like I'm giving back to myself. Yes, I'm pleasing my senses, I'm pleasing myself in those ways because I love food and I love yummy food. But if I'm also giving myself something good at the same time, like that's a really good feeling. So the other thing about lunches usually start the night before. The majority of people don't work from home. The pandemic saw the majority of people working from home. Now we're post-pandemic, and so we have most people not at home anymore. And for the majority of us in the morning, we don't want to think about having to make lunch. We want to do what we have to do, get our kids ready, make our morning meals, and get out of the house. So what's easy for a lot of people, and this is a really good mindset to have, is I started doing my food prep for my lunch the night before, whether I was making myself an Italian dish or a Mexican dish or a Thai dish, whatever it was. I would do that food prep the night before. Obviously, I wouldn't make the salad if I'm going to bring a salad with me. But any of the concentrates, I would do it, put it in a microwavable dish. And so in the morning, I just grabbed it, brought it to work, stuck it in the microwave, and my food was ready. Because for many years, I was eating out and trying to find options that were yummy, were still on the healthier side. And it's kind of a contradiction when you're talking about fast food and restaurants, because their job is to make the food as yummy and as addictive as possible so that you'll keep returning. So there's a lot of salt, like more salt than you would need. There's more oil, there's more fat, there's more deep frying. It's just a harder thing to negotiate. And what I'm doing is I'm including a separate video that's going to talk about eating out and easy ways to navigate your favorite places. Now, when you're eating for entertainment, you just eat whatever you like, but I'm going to show you at different restaurants, famous places, fast food places, places like Olive Garden, etc. You can go there, still have super yummy food, and not walk away with having eaten 2,000 calories and afterwards completely regret what you did. So you can still eat for entertainment and also have some calorie efficient food in there if you want. Sometimes you can just eat for entertainment and eat whatever you like, and that's great and that's super important. So we're going to talk about that in a separate video, but specifically for lunchtime, I was tired of navigating what I was going to order from different places, and I had a routine when I was in the city, and I would order from certain places on certain days. But when I really started caring about the quality of my food to an even greater degree, I started making more stuff from home. One of the special dishes that I'm going to share with you in this course is a Mexican dish called enfrijoladas. And it's a bean concentrated dish. And in the United States, beans are a side dish. You go to a barbecue, you have hot dogs and hamburgers and coleslaw and potato salad and baked beans on the side. It's kind of like a side dish, where here in Mexico, it's usually a part of the main dish. And when they've studied cultures where there's a lot of beans in the diet, there are a lot fewer occurrences of various cancers, and you can look this up on the internet, but I don't focus on those bonuses. Sometimes when you focus on the bonuses, you feel like, oh, well, I have to have beans. No, you don't have to have beans. We had beans because they taste super yummy, they're super calorie efficient, they make us feel full, and they're great for weight loss. So I like to have it because after I finish this dish, I don't have that feeling, and I also know that I gave myself something good, so emotionally and psychologically that feels good. So the first thing that we have to do with enfrijoladas is we have to soak the beans. So with soaking beans, one thing that I do with all of the cooking that I do, it's got to be fast, got to be cheap, got to be super yummy, but there has to be also no extra time. It's got to be like just in the fluid motion of the day. So something that's very common is that I'll start soaking beans in the morning, and then I'll head out to work, and then by the time I get home, they are ready for the Instant Pot. And this I'm going to use, you're going to see it in many, many videos, because it's one of those things that just makes cooking fast and cooking easy. And when the beans are soaking, they're doing all the work. The water's doing all the hard work, and you're off somewhere else doing, your job or whatever you got to do during the day. So after we have soaked them, you're going to see they're going to become double the size. And we want to wash them off. We don't want to dump them with the water that they've been soaking into the Instant Pot. We want to clean them off. So we're going to put them in a strainer. Going to rinse them with water. And then they're ready for the Instant Pot. And then all we have to do is take the beans, put in the beans, and we want to fill it. I mean, there are lines here in the Instant Pot where it'll show you the maximum amount. But if you want to be on the safe side, you fill it with the concentrate, whether it's rice, you're cooking pasta or beans. 2/3 of the way it is a max. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. And then we're going to add our water. You don't have to fuss about the type of water that you're going to add into the Instant Pot, because the water is going to be brought to a boil. So if you want to use tap water for this, it's totally fine. But for beans, I usually put about 3/4 of an inch to an inch more water over the line of beans. And this is what makes life easy. all we have to do, there's actually a beans button that I'm going to come around and push. Bean and grains, 20 minutes, and start. And that's it. After 20 minutes, the beans are going to be cooked, but usually what I'll do is I'll have them cook and then I'll switch the mode to like a soup mode so that it just keeps them on a simmer for a while and until I need them. So because I like my beans to be really, really soft, almost like a soup texture. And that's all I have to do. And now we're ready for the next stage. So one thing that I'll start to do while the beans are cooking, and they're back there where they belong, is I'll start making my pico de gallo. And so this is really fast, and this is what makes, the entire thing just take 20, 30 minutes max. Pico de gallo, in terms of food ladders, this is at the top of the tomato-based condiment, whether it's ketchup or whatever, food ladder, because we're using all raw ingredients. We don't have to put salt. Because especially if the dish that we're having is salted, we don't have to salt this as well. That's how there's all this extra salting going on, because what's really important about the pico de gallo is the combination of the tomatoes, the cilantro, the onion, and the lemon specifically. Real pico de gallo in Mexico calls for jalapeno. You don't have to put jalapeno, you can cheat. And you can get some pickled jalapenos called rajas. They're in salt and vinegar already, and they're a little bit more chill. You'll still see the white from the onion and the red from the tomato and the green from the cilantro, and seeing that bright green chili in there as well is really, really nice. So for a lot of people that aren't used to having jalapeno, it is spicy, and so if you're making it at dinner time, you can make one that is spicy, one that's not spicy, or you can make a big pico de gallo and you can just cut up some jalapeno on the side. And if people want to add it, make sure you use a little spoon with that, because you don't want people touching it with their hands. And if they touch their eyes, not a good thing. So something that's important with pico de gallo, just like any tomato-based sauces, it's the quality of the tomato. So these tomatoes are a little bit more firm than what I would use for a tomato sauce, like a marinara sauce. I want those to be a little bit more squishy. So these are great for salad. Any tomato that's great for salad is going to be great for pico de gallo. I have a very simple tomato cut for pico de gallo, because people sometimes they want to use food processors or different things and it just doesn't come out right. But the secret is that once you cut the tomato in half, then you want to slice it in 3 sections. If you can get it in 4 sections, great. I can maybe get a 4th here. And then we want to cut across. This is the fastest way. There are ways to get smaller pieces. It just takes more time. I like doing the 1, 2, 3, and if I can get the 4th, hold it all together, cut it all the way through, and then I get my nice chunky tomato. What's also great about pico de gallo is that it's kind of a cool sauce or salsa because it's spicy. So a lot of times kids won't want to have a salad, but they're like, yeah, I'll have some pico de gallo. Ooh, it's spicy. There's something like special and pizzazzy about it. So this is another way where you can sneak more raw food into your kid's diet, your spouse's diet. Pico de gallo can be used in so many different things, at breakfast, lunch, dinner, in different occasions. Now again, something that's important when you're working with jalapeno, and if you're not going to put on any sort of gloves, just afterwards, make sure that you wash your hands properly with soap and water, because you don't want to get it in your eyes. And also with the jalapeno, you want to cut up the pieces as small as you possibly can, because then it gives the other flavors in the pico de gallo a chance to dominate. And so it'll be more of a taste presence than it will be like a picante. It won't be so spicy and so hot. So now we want to put the beans into our Vitamix blender. You can use something as simple as a coffee cup. It's really good for exact measurement. And we want a combination of the broth that's in there and the beans. If you make beans and you don't use enough water, you can always add water to this process. It just, the water tastes a lot better when it's been cooking with the beans for a while. So we're not gonna fill it, and things can get a little too crazy. So now we're gonna add the salt. You've probably seen in a bunch of my videos that I add salt by hand. When you've made enough mistakes shaking salt into salsa or sauce, and then too much salt comes out, and then you can't really do much to fix it. You have to get more tomatoes or whatever. I really measure my salt, and I usually use my hand to do it. So I'm of the belief to undersalt, and then if people need to add a little bit at the dinner table, that's always better. The food that we eat out there is so incredibly oversalted. You'd be surprised, we need about half of the amount of salt that's used in restaurants and definitely in fast food and definitely in processed food. So start with experimenting undersalting, and then if you need a little bit more, or if you're serving a bunch of people, they can add it if they need it. So now we're just gonna blend the beans and the bean broth with the salt until it's a rich, smooth, creamy texture. So our next step is just to get the beans into a deep dish frying pan. And because our beans are already hot, they're only going to be on the stove for a second, just long enough for us to start to cook our tortillas. So you could put the flame down to medium low. And these are the corn tortillas that are usually available in the United States, these smaller circular ones. The ones we have in Mexico, especially the handmade ones, are a bit larger, but these do the trick. They still taste amazing. So what I'm gonna do with the 4 burners is I'm gonna utilize the other 3 to heat up the tortillas while I have my beans ready to go here. So I'm just gonna get these other burners going, and I'm gonna put the tortillas directly onto the burners. If you have an electric stove, it's fine, works just as well. And so what we want to do is we want to warm the tortillas a little bit before we put them into the beans. So as your tortillas start heating up and getting a little crispy, we want to toss them in with the beans and put the others on. So I'm just going to make one dish for one person, but you can replicate this out easily for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many people you need. Very easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the tortillas are properly covered in the beans. So I'm going to put my last 3 tortillas in. This is probably something around the size that I would have. This is like a big meal with 9 of these small corn tortillas. I want to make sure that they're properly covered in the beans. And then what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start scooping out the tortillas covered in the beans onto the plate. So this extra garnishing that I like to do, I like to take a little bit of romaine lettuce, sometimes the lighter part of it. And so what I like to do, because I like the combination of the cold and the hot, is that I will put a little bit of romaine lettuce on top, and then at the very end, then I'll come in with my pico de gallo. So this is absolutely an amazing lunch to have, and what you can do is you can do the whole bean and tortilla thing at night, put it in a tupper, leave it in the fridge for the next day and take it with you. In the morning, you may want to prep the pico de gallo, cut up the lettuce. You can bring that with you. You can get some of those things at work. And you definitely don't want to combine it in the tupper and then reheat it. You want to keep the cold side cold and the hot side hot, like the legendary McDonald's McDLT, which, where did that go? But anyway, this is an amazing dish, really good for weight loss and for weight maintenance, and has so many good things going on with it. I don't even want to broadcast all the amazing things that beans have, and tomatoes and onions and cilantro. Everything that's going on here is really good for you, and it's super yummy. So my focus with everything is like, okay, it's got to be yummy, it's got to be great for weight loss, and if it has all those extra things, fantastic. And it just so happens many of the foods that we're going to be working with together had those extra bonuses, which is amazing. That's how we're able to give back to our bodies. So in conclusion, with lunchtime, what's important is that we keep it fun, we keep it simple, we keep it super yummy. We do the prep the night before if that's just easier. I know I just love getting all the food prep done at one time and not having to think about anything in the morning. And we just keep working on the process. We keep fixing and figuring and doing R&D until we find a routine and we find some lunch variety that we like. There's some people that love to have the same thing every single day, and there are people that like to have different things every single day. You're going to find your plan and your routine, and as long as you're just focusing on improving the quality of the concentrates that you're having and improving the quality of the greens that you're having and the salad dressings, then at a certain point you can be like, okay, I'm at a max. I've got the highest quality concentrate, highest quality greens, I'm doing great with the salad dressing, then fantastic. And you're also going to be able to feel at that point, okay, this is food that actually helps me to maintain weight, or this is food that helps me to lose weight. And you'll be able to use certain lunches at certain times. I know when I get down to my ideal weight, or closer to my ideal weight, I'm a little bit more liberal at lunchtime, so I'll do more bobbing and weaving, and we'll talk about this more when I do the video for dinner time. So with lunches, have fun, come up with a great system that works for you, and slowly keep improving the quality of the food, and that's going to have a huge impact, not only on weight loss, but on a lot of different areas of your life. I'll see you guys in the next video.